What's up, Jason?
Hello.
We're going to do episode 56.5 of the Beyond the Curve, the MX podcast goes off-road, because we actually had the last race of the FTR season.
Next to last race.
Oh, sorry, next to last race. There is one more enduro, but the last Florida round for FTR is done and dusted at RICHLOAM in the dry, dusty, and hotter than hell RICHLOAM Forest.
It wasn't that bad.
Wasn't that bad?
Yeah.
It was hot, though.
It's all about preparation.
Which you've now mastered.
Yes, I found something that works very, very well.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about off-season. We're going to talk about what's going on in FTR and anything else Jason wants to talk about, because he's my buddy. We talk about racing, and I just did a podcast on motocross and the ins and outs of that, and Derek working with his kid trying to become pro. And actually, it's cool to watch a kid actually go out and put out riding videos and training and doing a training program and the struggles. So we're going to talk to Jason on the other side of life about FTR and what it's like to be an old man rider. But one, congratulations for the enduro. From everything I heard, it was a man's test this weekend, and I don't mean that derogatory towards women. It was a straight up 6 test hard enduro in May in Florida, which we know is always going to be hot. So congratulations on the result.
Yeah.
I know you wanted more, but that's still pretty good.
Yeah, it was a good day. Kind of pissed off by after you texted me that night. I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever because I was thirsty, and I saw your text and I scrolled through and looked at the results, and I'm like, it wasn't as good as I wanted. I thought it was better just based on where I had been running all day. In the group I was running with, they're faster than me, and I wasn't that far off of them. So I figured I would be way further up than what I was. But
how was the sprint format compared to their normal reset format?
Well, I mean, it's the same as what we did last year.
I don't remember much of last year's race.
Well, your section was still there.
Oh,
we just ran it backwards. Were
the poles still there?
Yeah, there was. Only saw like 2 of the poles in there.
Okay.
Not saying there weren't more, but there was only 2 like sticking up that I saw, but they were very apparent. They weren't painted, but they were just sticking up. You could see them. If they ran a regular enduro format but had everything timed right, it would have been fine. But like not last year, the year before that, when me and you went, when it was just bam, 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 like that definitely would have amplified it tremendously. It wouldn't have worked out for anybody.
I remember that year I didn't even go back for the last half because I was already like, I can't remember how many minutes behind when I went to go start again. I can't remember how. I was like, nah, I'm done. Yeah. I'm good. I'll time out before I ever make it through.
Exactly. Yeah. It's definitely nice. It's nice in the aspect of you have plenty of time. The downside of it, when it's this hot and you're running a good pace and you're ahead of schedule, is you get to the resets and you have 15-20 minutes, which is nice because you can get cooled off, but at the same time it's 15-20 minutes of you just sitting there.
Yeah.
So sometimes, like,
body starts kind of shutting off.
Yeah, it, like, when you get ready to go, like, it takes you a few turns to kind of, okay, let's go, like, get back going. And but after a couple miles, you're back in the groove. But it's kind of, it resets you a little bit too much. Pretty much the group I was with all day, we were, other than the start of the test 2, everything else for the whole day, we were running about 15 minutes ahead of time.
Okay.
So we would get there, we'd have 15 to 20, somewhere in that range, to chill out. When we got to the start of test 2, the first go around we were like 5 minutes. Then when we restarted the second half, so that would have been test 5, when the next go around, we were up to 15, because even the guys at the check made a comment about the track being beat in more, because your fast guys went from about a 5-minute to now we're 15 minutes. So that was a pretty major increase in speed just in them 2 sections.
Were there new sections, or was it pretty much the same layout from last year?
I'm
guessing there wasn't as much water through the little swamp area.
There were some new, some old.
The forest started growing back in where it burned off the year before.
Yeah, they burned it off sometime in the last probably 6-8 months, but it was already green back up. It wasn't what we rode that was old stuff, wasn't beat up. It was good.
Yeah.
There was, I don't know how much new stuff, but there was new stuff. It's kind of hard to tell because they prepped some of the new stuff, and then some of the new stuff, some of it may have been just old stuff that they hadn't used in a while. They did it like they used to do it way back, where they stuck the arrows up high, ran through a couple times, and called it a day. Because there was
good luck.
Yeah, there were spots where you couldn't see the ground.
Yeah,
it was all mashed down, and it was about that thick of green, so you couldn't tell what you were hitting.
Yeah. Old school enduro stuff.
Yeah.
It's still one of the ones that does that. Croom has one test that they kind of do that too, each year, but you don't get to see that much anymore. Most of them are a little more open.
Yeah.
So that RICHLOAM one, it is a fun one. It's still one I haven't conquered, which at some point I guess I'm going to have to try to conquer. So, because there's not one race that I haven't. Used to be Gatorback. Gatorback was the one that got me, and I finally conquered it. So RICHLOAM's the one that I'm just going to have to get done.
Yeah.
Didn't finish one year because it timed out, and one year I don't remember it. So, but no, it's good. So, are you gonna go do the last one, or are you done for the season?
No, we're done.
You're done.
Yeah.
So now it's training, rebuilding.
Yeah, it's like I said, we're ain't sure what we're doing for next year.
You ran this one on the dinosaur, didn't you?
No, I ran on 200.
Well, that's the older bike though.
It's a smart one.
Yeah.
And get it cleaned up tomorrow, and then take it next. I'm taking the suspension next week to be serviced, and we're gonna tweak the valving a little bit. Other than that, the thing keeps on running. Ain't nothing wrong with it. It's for that kind of stuff. It's perfect.
Yeah,
plenty of power. It's light. We got it set up to where it's spot on for me, so makes life easy.
It's nice to have that opportunity to ride a different bike for when you know what the scenarios are going to be.
Yeah.
That's definitely not a track that you need the full horsepower of a bike on.
No,
with the palmettos and
obviously there were some tighter spots, not like just consistently going, but there were some tighter spots. In general, I was mainly third gear cruising most of the day, just be bopping along.
Yeah.
I think most other guys were kind of in the same boat. So even if you had a bigger bike, if you knew how to just let the bike do its thing, like, you get through okay. But when you get tired, 200 pounds versus 250, 260,
repetitively moving,
makes a huge freaking difference.
Well, and you have way less inertia with that 200 versus a 254 stroke or a 454 stroke. There's just a lot less inertia going.
Yeah.
So it's a freer bike. There is a reason people love that bike.
Yeah.
And saw Sean Clark won it. Was he on the electric bike or was he on his?
He was on gas.
Okay. Yeah. I was curious if we were still doing that experiment.
Was it either last year or year before when he did it on the electric bike, and he had to have batteries specially placed at different spots, because you could only get basically 2 tests, so basically 2 laps out of a battery. So I know, like, he made the comment that it would that bike would have been better, but if the bikes can't make a whole half on one battery, the clubs aren't going to cater
Yeah.
To, okay, well, the gas stops are here, but we're going to have to now take batteries and like that's you're asking a lot.
Well, I know there's a guy that runs in the, I think it's the morning race, maybe it's the afternoon. He runs an electric bike, and he's had some good finishes because they're able to do. He's got his setup now where he can do a change on a battery.
It's the same one Sean's riding.
Oh, it's the same one.
It's the same guy. He's built numerous of those,
and he's able to get those batteries changed like 10 seconds.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't take but a second, but you have to have them.
But for the hair scramble, it's easier because there is a designated pit area.
Exactly.
So
every 2 tests is a little bit harder to get somebody to go set all that stuff out and make sure it's safe. You know,
no, it makes sense, but it's cool that he's done that before, and he's a true life case of, hey, this is cool, but right now this isn't reasonable.
Yeah.
I guess you could do it for national enduros because pretty much you have pit support every test, so you could do it at national.
Yeah, with the way theirs are set up, their events, yes, you could.
Yeah.
Like RICHLOAM, I'm assuming you probably could if you knew where all the spots were, because you can drive around in there.
Yeah.
If you had somebody that could bring you, like, yeah, you could do that, but you have to have somebody to do that for you, and they have to know where everything is.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Well, congratulations. It was a rough start to your season, and it turned out pretty good at the end. Like your
the season, I started off with 4th at Bartow.
Okay.
And then after that, it went to shit. And then I hurt and did whatever to this shoulder at the first Punta Gorda round. And then slowly kind of came back and ended on a positive note. Yeah. I mean, I ended up 26th overall for the event. I was 19th overall out of all the A's. And then the highest I got, I finished 11th overall in test 6.
Okay.
And I won the last 2 tests in my class. So, I mean, not bad.
No.
I figured, I didn't know if the boy that won, I've raced against him on and off for several years now. I knew if he beat me, I figured the gap would have been a lot closer. I didn't think it was going to be as far as it was, especially, like I said, the group I was running with in the morning. We rode together pretty much all day. So I figured, okay, well, if I'm running this pace with them and like how everything's working and how I'm feeling, I figured I'd just be a little bit further up than what I was. Yeah. But it is what it is.
When you say boy, do you mean like younger man than you?
He's mid-20s.
Okay.
So
yeah, he's got you by a few years.
Yeah, he's got me by. He's what? I want to say he's like 25.
Okay.
26, something like that.
So he still can't race age group stuff. So he's
no. So I mean, he's got me by what, 14 years?
Yeah.
So I mean, it ain't bad.
No, it's good. It's good, and it's good that you're out there and still competitive and wanting more. I remember you texted me back like, "Oh, I was up here." I'm like, "Jesus Christ, man! Just accept. Like, you did good. Like, it's okay." And I love the fact that there's still that desire to like want to do more, and want more. But
well, it's one of the things like so. I've been experimenting with all of y'all's hydration stuff.
And I want to touch on that.
I've been reading on other stuff like, okay, well, if I eat this or do this, what does this do? Like trying to fill in some gaps of what's been transpiring, because a year ago, what was working and we did all them enduros, everything's fine. And then a year later, it's like, the hell happened?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm almost fucking 40.
Yeah.
So something went wrong.
The body changed.
Yeah, very quickly. So I've been experimenting with that stuff at work on fires and stuff, and like the electrolyte tablets. I noticed with them, like I could be kind of sinking, drink a bottle of that stuff, and within minutes, like I'm waking back up and I'm fine. So I knew that stuff was working. I didn't know how it was going to work like long term, but I knew like short term, like even over a couple hour period, I could drink another one and like I'd keep going. So I knew I had that. I had the pre-workout stuff that y'all been working with, and
Did you get over the jitter stuff with that?
yeah, I'm fine now.
Oh,
Like
okay.
all I know is
No
when
tingling.
no, all I notice with it is when I get it in my system, I just feel more alert. Like it just wakes me up, wakes my mind up.
Yeah.
Things are processing more clearly. It's kind of it's just things are like working better.
We're about to have company. The dog's coming in from their evening walk.
So we did that.
Is that the 6 a.m. stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the running pre-workout.
Carl.
Hey, buddy.
So it's one of the things talking about. So Michelle and I did our marathon. We kind of fell in love with this stuff called 6 a.m. workout. They have a pre and a post workout. It's a tub powder, mix it in water.
Yep.
The pre workout. None of it's too strong tasting.
No, that stuff. I mean, it's like the electrolyte tablets, but not with the carbonation taste. Like it's all very simple. It doesn't taste bad.
No.
Um,
And the tablets you're talking about are the Noon. N-U-U-N.
Yeah.
Noon. They're electrolyte, just electrolytes.
Hey, baby.
They're not a pre or a post. They're just basically your general electrolyte stuff. And you're drinking those. Did you put that in your Camelback?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
How did that taste throughout the race? Did you feel like at some point you just wanted water?
No.
No.
I basically dumped in 2 tabs, and I filled my drink system up about 3/4 of the way, and it was just like you would mix in a normal bottle, like the way it tastes. So the consistency was pretty right.
I have a question on the tabs though, because those tabs they kind of off gas a little bit.
Yeah.
So did you notice any expansion? Because like if you put it in a bottle of water, you just break it and put it in your bottle of water, and it'll break up. And then when you pop your bottle of water,
when we got there that morning, got signed up and everything, that's one of the first things I did. Is I went ahead and made that.
Yeah.
I put it all in there, and then I just shook it up real well, and I held it up, and I sat there and watched it dissolve, and I sat there and broke it up and just shook it up, and there was a little bit of it's swelling up. I don't want to say swelling up. A little bit of inflation. So I just opened it real quick, bled the pressure off of it, and then closed it and called it a day.
Fine.
And then at the gas stop, I put some more water in, dropped in another tablet, shook it up, and called it a day. And then I would, after I did that, I just bit onto it a couple times just to see if there was any pressure, and it was fine.
And the reason we tried the tab, we thought the tabs would be good for racing. It's one of the things we were talking about kind of before this whole process started was they also have the little individual powder packets that you can dump in. But the tabs, they literally look like wafers. And you dump them in and they don't go away immediately. They kind of mix. So when you're racing, you're moving.
Yeah, it's going
so
to
stay mixed up more than a powder going in and sitting and trying to shake it up. So that's why we kind of thought the tabs, but Noon makes a powder and the tabs.
Yeah.
But the tabs I think are good if you're active. If you're wearing that stuff, if you're running, working out, they're good.
Yeah.
And they're easy to drink. I drink them at the house. I just break them and put them in a bottle of water and drink them.
But I did that there. I changed my routine prior to. I was doing good, and then I worked Wednesday, Thursday, and got my butt kicked Thursday. So I had to start back over Thursday night and Friday. So I started, but the way I was prepping, I was adding some more stuff in. I started my anti-inflammatories Friday night instead of starting Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
So I started that ahead of time, hydrating differently ahead of time, and then been trying and experimenting with watermelon because it works really well with Gunner. He responds very well to it. So I was doing research on it and trying to, because that was the thing, like, well, for a hair scramble, either you eat breakfast, you eat lunch, whatever. But for an enduro, you're running basically a hair scramble, then stopping, then running another one.
Yeah.
Okay, well, with as hot as it is, I'm not eating a sandwich or any of that crap in between. It's too hot.
Yeah.
So I'm started experimenting and reading on watermelon and what's actually in it and all it actually does. And I'm like, I actually probably should just start eating this stuff more in general. So we prepped different. My gas stop sequence and everything I did was different. I had watermelon in there. Uh, had more electrolyte stuff. I had just room temperature Sprite that I sipped on. So I had just raw sugar in there,
Yeah.
bananas, and then having the electrolyte stuff in my Camelback. And I would say about halfway through test 5, I started getting a little hungry. The first half, I ate 3 of the chewy.
Blocks, Cliff blocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ate 3 of them. I think right before, what was it? So just the start of test 3, and then I took more with me the second go around. And after each section, I was eating 2 or 3 of those, which kind of helped. They filled in the gap long enough.
Yeah.
The only thing, if I could have ate a little bit more at the gas stop, I think I'd have been fine. But I'd ate enough and put enough in me. Like I felt full. So I was like, okay, if I do more, am I going to feel like crap or am I going to get sick?
Yeah.
So I just stopped there. And between the electrolyte stuff, eating the gummies and stuff like that, like I was fine. Because we parked literally 10 feet from the start and the finish.
Okay.
So we were right there. When I came in at the halfway point, I was fine. And then my dad, he was sitting there waiting, and he figured when I was coming into the finish that I'd be whipped like everybody else. And I came in and I was fine. I was not tired. I got off and he's like, you look fine. Like I've seen you look way, way worse after a hair scramble. And I'm like, I feel 100%. Like I'm good. And even the people at the checkpoint to finish right across from us even hollered over and made a comment about how energetic I look. I'm like, I'm fine. Like I'm good.
It feels good when you find something like that works. Like even though what you did worked in the past, it feels good when you're like, holy cow, like
Yeah.
This is nice.
Well, and after experimenting with some of this stuff, I'm like, well, maybe just all along what I've been, even on when I've had no problems. Well, if I'd had this little bit added in, it'd have been even better. So it's like maybe these little things are the pieces that hydration and somewhat nutrition wise, like little gaps that have been missing, but it hasn't been noticeable enough to where it's causing a problem. But now the gap is bigger and it's showing itself, and it's like, okay, you need to fix it. Well, I think I figured out how to fix it. So we'll just keep going with it, and as long as it works, and we'll run it until it stops working, and then we'll
try something else.
Go to plan C.
Did you chill the watermelon, or was it room temperature? Or?
It was just in a container, and I stuck it in the cooler, which had ice packs on top.
Now, did you salt the watermelon, or
no? It's just raw.
Plain? Okay.
Yep.
Because I know it's good. I know it's good in vitamin C, and it's got a lot of water in it.
It's got that. It's got water. All kinds of like antioxidant, like all kinds. I didn't realize just plain unmessed with watermelon. I didn't realize it had as much stuff in it that it did, like for inflammation and all. And I'm like, well hell, I got.
Let me eat this on a normal basis.
Exactly. And I actually, like I said, I did a few different days just playing with it after I did stuff, and like I noticed shortly after consuming it that something was transpiring.
Yeah.
So it works.
Well, if there's any Ross Chastain watermelon farmers that want to sponsor a racer, he's proven that the watermelon works for racing. 6 a.m. workout, noon. All of these are running type things, but I'm not a runner. I'm really not a racer either, but I enjoy both of them, and they work. I mean, heck, they work out here like when we're working in the yard and stuff. Just getting, you don't realize in Florida, especially how many electrolytes you actually just lose, and just drinking water doesn't do it.
Yeah,
it's great to get the water back in, but at some point you're losing out on the magnesium, the sodium,
Yep. Your body's
potassium.
dumping a lot of stuff, and water's not doing, in essence, really anything. It's an empty filler that's not really doing anything. And that's like with Gunner and soccer, that's what I'm trying to get through his head. Well, I drank my water, I did it. I'm like, that's not enough. And after his last game, I think he kind of started to get it, because he tanked. Like, his system said, I'm done. He was as red as that hat, and he was shutting down. And I got him over there, cooled him off, went to dumping watermelon in him, a couple other things, and within minutes, he was peaking back up. But
yeah, it's funny how that happens, and you start, and then you see yourself doing it, and then all of a sudden you're like, holy cow, okay, it makes that big of a difference.
Yeah.
And it is funny, and I'm glad, and it's something we've been working on. Just Michelle and I were working on. We brought Jason in to give it a try and let him try. He was kind of our guinea pig of all the different stuff that we had been trying to see, because we liked it, but we're like, let's see if someone else can do it too. And we realized, like, he's not a goo taker. He's never going to take goo.
Nah. I can only take about half a packet, and that's forcing it. That's
so. But it's cool. So that's one of the reasons we do this stuff, is we try stuff, and we just want to share it, because we get nothing from this. I mean, like I said, we're joking about, like, if there's a watermelon farmer that wants to sponsor two old men racers who think it's great for rehydration and electrolytes and nutrition during a race, we're up for it. But one of the things that we had talked about last time in the dark with MJ sitting with us was FTR getting in the way of itself. And over the past couple of weeks, there's been a lot of discussions. I thought one of the funniest posts that I saw was from Lee Daly, who's one of the senior people in FTR for a while. And he's like, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not, but like, there was someone taking pictures. Who were they? Like, and I just thought it was funny. And I'm wondering if the picture gate has solved itself. No.
Me and my dad actually spoke to Jamie.
Okay.
At the start.
Oh, he was there.
Yeah, he was there with Sean Daltrey. They just drove up to bullshit in the morning. And he just happened to kind of pass us, and I said, hey, and he stopped and he talked to us. It's not over. It's still going on. It's the same as before. It's just a bunch of bullshit that shouldn't even.
It got somewhere it shouldn't have gotten to.
Well, it shouldn't even happen. Period. Like, it shouldn't. But Jamie was like, I've said my piece. I'm keeping my nose out of it. I'm not. As far as my end, he's like, I'm good. He's like, I'm good with this. Like, they can do whatever the hell they want to do, but it's not going to stop me from anything I'm doing, because I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
So he's like, as far as posting pictures and stuff, he did make the comment that he's going to just try to push everybody to his site, where he'll just do everything off of that. And
yeah,
okay, problem solved. Everybody knows who he is. They know his site. They just, most of his stuff isn't on that.
Yeah.
So he's just kind of steering everything towards that. And he's like, I'm good. Like,
yeah.
So he was cool about it, and he thanked us for support and everything like that. And it is what it is. It's kind of funny, like some of the people that are the problem aren't the problem. The people that other people have problems with, like, it's weird. Like, when you're on the track with them, like, I'll just use like McAfee for example. I've known Kyle for a long time.
Yeah.
we basically race on and off the same classes, so we start together and stuff like that. So, like, during the enduro, he started a few rows behind me. Well, he ended up in the group I was with. So, like, at every reset, we were all there together. And it's like, is there issues there with stuff going on? Yeah. But you know what? We're here, we're racing. Yeah. We're just talking about racing shit or whatever and checking on each other. And it's like, the problems are there, like they're there, but it's like they don't exist within that moment type thing. So it's like,
hey, when you put the coat and tie on, that's a different time than when you're putting the race suit on.
Yeah.
Like it's just this is off track.
Yeah.
This is, but and I completely agree with all of that. I think the biggest issue is it became a public. It didn't stay behind the closed corporate doors. It came outside.
Yeah.
And when it comes outside, you think IndyCar went through it when they had a Roger Penske, who happens to own IndyCar, who also owns teams in IndyCar. They got caught cheating at the first race of the season. Well, that became a public thing, and people are clamoring towards that story. We're not IndyCar, but in Florida, we are IndyCar.
Yeah.
Like we are the number one racing thing in off-road in Florida.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? That story is going to have traction, and it has tentacles, and those tentacles have now spawned other pissing matches.
Yeah.
So it was fun. It was neat. It was good to see. I feel like some of the older guys are kind of sick and tired of it, and they're just speaking their mind. I saw Sean Fouch say, like, "Hey, man, like I'm just saying stuff.
Yeah.
If you can't take it, you can't take it."
Well, and like I know what you're talking about, and so like even with that one, I saw the post. I didn't really pay attention to it a whole lot. I just glanced through whatever.
Yeah.
And then it kept going and kept going. So I went back and I reread everything. And I'm like, well, the guy asking the question that Sean said something to, let me go look and see if what he was asking exists or don't exist. So I went and tried to find what he was asking.
Yeah.
It didn't exist. On the FTR website, it said ticket sales will be posted May 15th. Well, we're May 20 something.
Yeah.
There's still no link. There's nowhere to be found. And there, whatever the other question, like, he wasn't wrong in what he was asking, because what he was asking
Wasn't there.
was posted. Oh, it's for sale, or whatever.
Yeah.
It don't exist. And then you got Sean jumping on, and it's like, Sean, you really need to just shut the fuck up on this. Like, you don't really. After read, like, it's like, no, you were in the wrong on this. Like, he asked a valid question because the information there was wrong.
Yeah.
You said ticket sales started May 15th. Okay. It says right there, post it on the FTR website. Where is it? Yeah. It don't exist. And it still don't exist as far as I know.
Well, I understand that we have a working website right now, but that website is a shell of what that website used to be.
Yeah.
It is not. And I'm not going to defend one way or the other. There are a lot of people that ask questions that could find the answers, and then they get mad when someone says, go look at this. In this instance, they ask a valid question, but I think people are just kind of like, dude, it's kind of like in our Babson Park group.
Yeah.
I was wondering if, did you look? Like, stop asking and go search.
Yeah.
And I think people are just kind of, I think there's a group of people that are kind of like, hey, man, let's take care of, like, can we take care of it? In this instance, the guy asked a valid question.
Yeah.
I think in the same instance, I think there's a group of people that are kind of tired of, Jesus Christ, man, why can't you just go find the information? This time there was no information to be found.
Yeah, the information posted was wrong.
Yes.
It was false.
So it's one of those.
Well,
it fell on top of one
another.
You have
the FTR website. You have the official FTR Facebook page. You have the unofficial FTR page. Then you have all these other little groups.
Yeah.
And all this information is spread out amongst all this. And it's posted, some of it's posted differently in different spots. So it's like somebody asked something about year-end trophy stuff. And I'm like, I know Tim Nordell posted it somewhere. But honestly, that's why I can't remember which spot it's in. Yeah. I'd have to go back and sit there and hunt.
And it's too bad that can't be, because there used to be a page on the FTR page where all important information had kind of streamed through, like there were dates.
Yeah.
And
well, you went to, it used to be under the score section, like for the, like, it was easy. All that stuff was in one spot.
Yeah.
Now it's spread out you either need to do everything on a website and not do anything on Facebook, or you need to do everything on Facebook and not have a what.
Or
You need to put everything in one
they
spot.
make this amazing thing where you can link it to
Yeah.
one, where like on the website you can see the most recent official post, not from you and me posting on there, but if Tim Nordell posts something on there, it's on there, or if President posts something on there. But this is not going to be one of those bashing sessions tonight. We did that last time. But no, it's just funny. I think now that I know FTR still has one more enduro to go for their season.
Citra National.
Yeah, in June.
Yeah.
I mean, we thought it was hot now.
Yeah.
Go to Georgia and it'll be nice and toasty.
Or it could be just a muddy mess like last year.
It's true. But I think it's now time for FTR to, I don't care if they close ranks. I think it's time now to start making some of those decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there's voting stuff. You know what? They might need to close ranks and say, for the betterment of the group, we're going to make some decisions this year moving forward. And let's see what happens. Because if we start next year in Butler or wherever, Lake Butler, and it looks exactly the same, I'm just telling you right now, it's going to be exactly the same.
Yeah.
And I'd rather piss people off in the first round, and by May it looks good.
Yeah.
Than having, if we have these same conversations next May that we're having now, what's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah.
So I mean,
I know Randy's not running for president again, so I think whoever ends up with that, it's either going to stay the same or it's going to get worse or it's going to get better.
Yeah.
It's going to go one of three ways.
But does it matter? Does it matter to the president so much as to who the president is surrounded by?
So with the conversation had, there were some things said which I already knew, but kind of just reiterated. Yes, it's the head motherfucker in charge. If he don't have the balls to do what needs to be done and say what needs to be said, the rest of it don't matter. They're going to walk all over that.
Yeah.
And he's going to have his head in dirt. And that's kind of where we are. If he would just stand up and do what he's supposed to do, all this would stop.
Yeah.
Won't do it. So depending on who gets in there, depends on what direction everything goes.
So we need someone to go for president that doesn't care if they're liked and just
do their job.
Do the job for a couple of years and then walk away.
That's not honestly, that's not affiliated with
a club.
A club or any of the cliques or groups in general, and just goes in there and basically just shows their ass and does what they're supposed to do. But it's going to be hard to find somebody like that because there's things in the rule book that says, like the president has to be at every event. So like almost Thursday through Sunday, like they have to be there. They have to be available. If they're not, they have to have an appointee that like there's stipulations to that position that like when you take that position, you are affixed to FTR for that term.
Yeah.
Like you are, but it brings up, okay, well, if that's the case, why isn't that a paid position?
Yeah. Or at least the subsidized.
Yeah. Like, which I think I know there is some subsidized stuff, but I can't remember specifically what it is. Like there is some stuff that's done.
Because if I went to the races, if I had to go, if I was the president and I went, there's no RV in this, so I'd have to drive and I'd have to have a hotel Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
Every race.
Yeah.
Do you have to go to all the enduros too?
No. It's just the hair screen.
Just there. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, for Bartow, I could get away with it. But like every other race, I'd have to spend the night.
Yeah.
So, I mean, unless you have an RV or have a good Hilton Connects account, it's expensive.
Yeah.
So, it's a free position, and you're not supposed to be liked. You're supposed to be you're supposed to do a good job. If you happen to be liked, that's awesome.
Yeah. you're supposed to do the job whether you're liked or not liked, but you're respected because you're doing your job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe they don't like you, but they respect you because you're doing what's right.
Yeah. And I don't know enough people who are in the shadows that aren't attached to a club that.
Yeah, they pretty much all of them are. There's some guys that are more outspoken, and one of them may end up in that position. I don't know.
Do we need a younger guy, an older guy?
Younger, I would say younger depends on what demographic and background they come from, because that could go many different ways.
Yeah.
You could get a young guy that's hardworking background, just that's been involved in this for a long time, that has the right outlook. You could get a young guy, yeah, he's been involved in a lot of time, but you look at how they look at things and some of the things they've done, and it's like, you don't really want them. And then you look at another one like, oh hell no, like,
Yeah.
And that's that's the funny thing about like Facebook and some of these other things is a lot of people get on there and advertise themselves, whether they realize it or not. And I don't think they realize how either they made themselves look good, they look like a jackass, they just look like somebody just whines about everything. Like, well, when it comes back up to things and people go to hunt and stuff, all that shit shows up.
Yeah.
So they type your name in and, oh, let's see what this person's like, and type it in and start looking, and it's like, oh, well, this person just likes to run their mouth about shit. Well, do I really want that person involved in this?
Yeah.
So that's why I said, like, just looking the demographic and back, like what they post, what they do, like even what people have commented on these people doing, like it shows you what type of person they are, whether they realize what they're doing or not. You can figure out real quick.
Yeah.
You seem like an okay person, but you're really kind of a jackass. I don't really know if I want to be involved with you.
It'll be interesting because I think when do we elect? November, October, somewhere around there.
Yeah, this coming season, I think
So,
whenever it happens.
So do this. Go enjoy the banquet. Get your award. Hang out. Let mom enjoy the pool.
That
Get
could
some
be
drinks.
interesting too.
Yeah.
Get some drinks to some of these people in an enclosed building.
But Michelle and I went a couple years, and it was a lot of fun. We stayed in a hotel. We enjoyed the dinner. We enjoyed the meal. I know this year they were talking about, I guess there's either motocross race or something, or a football game or something.
It's whatever. Was it Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fight or whatever? It's the same night.
Dude, if that's truly your thing, then
well, I think the whole thing is everything that's gone on, and then the banquet's going on at the same time, and like you get all these people like could be a recreation.
Hey, you know what? There's literally, are they doing it in the same place they've done it the past couple years?
Yeah, it's the same.
There's literally, you walk out of there, go across. There's a bar right there.
Yeah,
like you just walk across. You can go to the bar and have a good time. You can watch the fight. You can come back in, go for the awards you need to see, and then come back in for the leave for the awards you don't. You'll be all right. But nonetheless, wanted to talk to you about the enduro. Wanted to talk to you about your new kind of regiment. Wanted to talk about the current FTR stuff. Don't know if you watched any of the motocross, pro motocross.
I didn't see it.
No, no big deal. Wanted to touch on. Oh shoot, I had something I wanted to touch on, but I totally slipped my mind. Not a big deal. But so for the summer, stripping everything down, gonna ride, gonna train. What are you looking at for the summer?
Just get Gunner back on the bike here after this weekend and go from there, and just everything's already been done. There ain't nothing needs to be done to the gas. Ain't nothing needs to be done to the YZ. The suspension's getting done on the 200 next week, and a couple other little things. But other than that,
so clean them and get them ready to go.
Just start riding, and just mainly getting him riding again, and see where that heads.
I always like the dead of summer training time. Yeah,
I will say it's either going to be before noon or after about 5 or so. There in the middle ain't freaking happening. It's already it's way too hot.
And if we don't get some rain, there won't be anything going on for a while either, because it's like cotton balls out there, and I just pushing.
Yeah, you might as well not even go out there. That shit's like powder right now.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, it's just wanted to catch up. Not much going on. I'm going to sit down with MJ next week after where they race GNCC. Oh shoot, I don't know where they're racing this weekend, but they're racing this weekend. They've got a couple more before the summer break, maybe just 2 more before the summer break. So, and then we'll catch up if you test any new products or have any new products to test. Um, I I saw that. Oh, that's what I want to say. Congratulations to Jack Chambers, Florida's own Jack Chambers. He and Jeffrey Hurlings dominated the British championships this weekend. So it's awesome. I mean, you travel in the world getting to race your dirt bike, and a win's a win. And the British championship is always pretty tough, but goes and gets a win. That's cool. That's cool to do. And I don't care the situation. I don't care what that team looks like. The fact that you want to cross the pond and you want a pro race in the MX2 class, that's awesome. And you were in the same sentence on Facebook pages with Jeffrey Hurlings. That's kind of cool. So, but congratulations to Jack. Heard a rumor that Zach Osborne may be coming back to some racing. And I don't know. I don't
think that'd be a very smart decision, because every time he's tried that, it ain't worked.
Well, let's put it this way. The guy he's training did really well this weekend in his return to pro motocross. So just keep training Savachi. And I think it's funny that he's training Savachi, because since he wiped Savachi out to win a championship, he's not training Savachi. I think that's funny how the world spins. But hey, what do you think about the Triumph finishing top 10 in pro motocross, and Jalik, and they're making that bike look good?
Yeah, I didn't watch any of it. I mean, honestly, as long as it doesn't blow up or anything, just keep on running.
I will tell you, I know this is the off-road side. If you get a chance to watch Jet ride, there's a lot of people that are pulling stuff off, and what he's doing on a bike differently at that level, these minuscule little things. This weekend, Chase was catching him every lap. They'd get to this one section, and Jet would jump, pre-jump and jump something, and he would gain all the time back that Chase gained on him. And his movement on the bike, or lack of movement on the bike, I don't know how much of that's teachable and how much of that is just God-given talent.
Well, there's a lot of that you can't teach. It's you learned whatever along the way. You've watched all these other riders do stuff, and then you just start doing your own thing and figuring out how you do these your own little special things. And you may realize you're doing them, you may not realize you're doing them. And when somebody asks, "Well, can you show?" It's like, I don't know how to tell you what I'm doing.
Yeah, I don't think he would be a great teacher.
Yeah,
he's the James Stewart. He can't teach you what he's doing.
You either can do it or you can't.
It's incredible. No one else in that class could do what he was doing on that jump. Chase followed him and could not do what he was doing on that jump.
Yeah.
And it's just like Chase is right there and could not do what he was doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, at that point, well, you just tip your hat and say, man, you got this. I can't do anything.
Yeah. And like you said before, we've been talking, he's not pushing it. He's just cruising.
Yeah.
Well, if he's cruising and doing all that, what do you think's going to happen if he actually kicks in high gear? Y'all don't have a chance. Y'all won't be able to touch him, period.
Well, his brother gave him a run first race. Second race, he and Chase was pushing him, so he just kept going.
Yeah.
The gap from second to third was 41 seconds.
Yeah.
They expanded their lead. Chase trying to catch him the whole time. They just kept pushing out. Once they passed Hunter, because Hunter was in second.
Yeah.
Once they passed Hunter, all of a sudden it was 15 seconds, 20 seconds. The final gap was 41 seconds.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure Jet's teaching his brother, hey, do this. When I'm sure at some point and it'll probably be years.
Yeah.
His brother will slowly work up closer, and then at some point, probably years down the road, it'll do that. But
And
right now, he's watching and he's teaching him.
isn't it funny? The younger brother's teaching the older brother.
Yeah.
The older brother taught the younger brother early on.
Yeah.
And now the younger brother's like, hey, watch this.
Yeah.
Because their bikes look completely different. There's no way their bikes are that much different. But the way Jet's riding, Derek pointed it out, like Jet's bike, when it doesn't leave the ground, the back wheel's always tracking. And Chase was, the bike was up. And then, well, when the bike's on the ground, it's moving.
Yeah.
And it's just traction. It's just.
Well, they're running completely different suspension setups.
Yeah.
They're tire, like there's so many variables that can make it do different things, but I'd be willing to bet that their suspension setups are very, very different. One's way, way softer than the other.
Yeah.
But one is keeping you on the ground, the other is not. Because that was always like the thing with James Stewart, that years and years later, when all these people were analyzing his career and everything he did, like that was one thing that I saw on several different videos that people started picking up on, was when he would crash, he always crashed hard and big, but they were like, watch where he crashes. Well, he's always crashing in turns and stuff like this. Well, if you watched everything in slow motion, his suspension never compressed.
Yeah.
His suspension was so stiff, it wouldn't compress. Well, It was set up stiff to where he could do what he could do, but he couldn't freaking turn.
Yeah.
So he always would just come barreling in and just, end over end. Well, and if you watch all that in slow motion, the suspension isn't compressing. He's not slowing down. He's just doing that.
His suspension was like those 4x6s right there.
Yeah.
Just bricks.
But he bounced it off of everything. He
Yeah.
didn't absorb anything. So, like with Jet, with him staying on the ground more, he's probably running a little bit softer setup, and the bike's absorbing everything instead of just hitting and bouncing off of it.
Yeah, it's astonishing to watch. And as much crap as I give him, I gave him crap today. Hayden Deegan's a good rider. I wish Hayden Deegan could be a pro motocross racer and not a YouTube star. I still haven't figured out, and I'd love your opinion on this. He's the only professional racer where his parents, man friend, whatever, there's an area when they come off the track where the riders come into this little tent area. No other riders' parents. Every once in a while, Lucas Myrtle would be there. His parents are always there at the end of the race. Why? Just let the kid be. Let him enjoy the time with his mechanic. Let him enjoy the time with his team owner or whoever. Why are they there? And then his comment about, I trained with Kitchen for years. I knew he was going to get tired. He didn't get tired. He stabbed himself with a Cherubus thing that came off the ground. Like it literally came out of nowhere.
Yeah. I mean, their dynamic is a little bit different than really anybody else that's really came up racing wise. Like there's been guys whose dads they raced or whatever, but there hasn't been anywhere it's been the high profile background like his.
Yeah.
I think that's part of it. I think the other part of it is maybe he's not responsible enough to run his own life at this point. So they have to be there and be involved to control him. Which, I mean, if that's the case, well, should he really be in that position?
Because he's damn good. Like he's fast. Like he's putting in rides. Like he's good.
Because I mean, if you look at if you kind of look over the history of racing in general, any time a parent has been involved long term, especially in the very beginning, with most of these guys, it has not ended well.
Yeah.
Like it's embezzlement, just relationships completely ruined. People die. Like it's not. There's only been a couple cases where like it turned out fine. Most of the time, it goes south. I think they're his handlers. they control him, and with just the background and like maybe they feel like they have to be there with I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
It's just kind of weird because
time will paint that picture
yeah,
as to what it is. And it's kind of one of the things, you'll watch the way it is, and I would say if it stays this way, then I would say they are his handlers because he is not responsible enough to run his own life.
Yeah.
Or at some point, once he's more established, you may see him step back. Or maybe they're more, it's more publicized because of who they are.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think also, but we see I've seen John Tomac at races. I've seen Dazzy at races. I've seen Kier at races. All of their sons are very successful. I never see them
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. And that's why I say it may be more of they are his handlers.
Yeah.
Like they know what to do with him if he comes off the track and is pissed off, like, because they know he cannot control himself,
Yeah.
and they know his mechanic cannot. But at the same time, if that is the case, should he really be in that position? Like, what's going to happen? Okay, well, they can't come to a race. Something bad happens.
Yeah.
They can't come, and then he goes to a race by himself and just blows his top. Like,
Yeah.
it's one of them things. Like,
So what you're saying is we need to hope that Haley becomes really successful in the Xfinity series so that they're torn as to where they need to be.
no, that ain't gonna happen either.
No,
She's kind of like Danica Patrick.
Yeah, Danica won a race,
Which
so.
I've never watched any of like Deegan's truck racing stuff or any of that. I've never watched any of her car racing stuff. I've just seen pictures. Up until a couple months ago, I didn't even know what her voice sounded like. I would just scroll through. I'd see a clip. I'd just watch it with no sound, because I do that a lot. I just watch things with no sound, and then finally one day I turned the sound on and I listened to her talk, and I'm like, no, turn the sound back off. Just I'm like, no, that's not going nowhere.
She's also, I will say this, I think her brother has taken over the successful role in the family because she was good. She is good. But it comes to that point, like you said in motorcycle racing, you come to a point where you either have it or you don't.
Yeah.
And she's kind of reached that pinnacle for her.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. She can make a great living with her following. But if it's racing that she wants to do, it's not going to be at that level.
Yeah.
Unless it's funded, because talent-wise, she's good. She's not good enough.
Yeah.
She's good enough. Like, it's kind of like what we said with some of these guys that we like, but they're good. They're just not good enough.
Yeah. They're not, nobody is going to pay them to race.
Yeah.
They're
And she is a Ford driver, and that's cool, but her dad is also represented by Ford.
Yeah.
And
that's probably where some of that comes from, is his background, what he's done and everything, and they're just kind of tagging along, which, I mean, I understand some of that, but there comes a point where it's like, okay, you gotta quit living off their coattails. And
I think Hayden's done that. He's winning on his own.
Yes,
he's good.
He is a good rider.
Yeah,
but he is not. He is a good rider, but there's lots of other pieces that aren't there yet.
Yeah,
and I think he's one of those that they moved up too quick. But also with the amateur stuff, it's like, okay, what the hell do I go do then? Because
I think you're seeing that now. Adams, Drew Adams is in Canada.
Yeah.
Gavin Towers went to Europe.
Yeah.
To race EMX 250 for the Yamaha, because they're like, dude, we can't leave these kids and we got to get them on the gate.
There's once they hit that point, there's what?
Yeah.
You have Loretta's, Mini-O's,
Phoenix Open.
Yeah, there's like a handful of events for the whole year that are big events for amateur. Outside of that, it's like, there's nothing to go do.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I can go race this. All right, well, I lapped the whole damn field. Like,
Yep.
so I think he's. I mean,
They didn't know what else to do with him.
he's headed in a better direction than Cicerillo.
Yep.
But if they don't control him and harness that, it's going to be its own self-destruction at some point.
Because every team's going to hate him.
Yes.
I can tell you right now, Pro Circuit will come after him. KTM will come after him.
Yeah.
The mouth, he's fast enough, he can outrun the mouth. But at some point, you're put in a situation where it doesn't matter that you're fast enough. You're in a group of people, and they're like, oh, it's you?
Yeah.
Okay, boom, thank you. And you're down. And that's where the issue is going to come.
Yeah.
Kitchen's a good solid racer. He's not going to do anything intentionally.
Yeah.
But if he gets that situation where, oh, you told me I was tired, I'm going to get tired.
Yeah. Watch this.
Watch this. Let's knock you down and let you come back through the crowd here and see how you do. And
yeah,
I just think he could be the reincarnation. All three people wrapped up in one of Chad Reed, Ricky Carmichael, and James Stewart wrapped up in one individual.
Yeah.
How they hated one another, talk smack. You had to pick sides.
Yeah.
He could be that guy.
Yeah.
And it'll be fun to watch because the 250 class, I mean, right now, the 250 class is entertaining. I mean, there are guys spread all over the place. Yeah.
But if
it'll be fun.
So he didn't win Supercross.
No.
So he can stay in that. If he wins outdoors,
it doesn't matter. He can stay his whole life. You can run 250 motocross your whole life.
Okay. But Supercross, you can win it, then defend it, and then you're gone.
Yeah.
So I'm sure realistically their goal is, okay, next year we win it. Then the year after that, we defend it.
I don't even know if he would defend. He might. I guess it depends what Tomac does and Cooper Webb does.
But he's one of those, if you put him on a 450, he will hurt himself. He has no business being on one.
You think?
With the way he rides and as young as he is,
you watch the way he rides. I'm gonna banter that point with you. You watch the way he rides, but he's actually pretty damn smooth
when he's in control. But when it goes wrong,
he doesn't go wrong that often.
He's crashed. He's done shit.
Yeah, he's also done some miraculous things when he's.
But on a 450, that stuff happens even faster and more violently.
Well, that's what Hunter said.
And he's, I mean, he's little.
Yeah.
He's not big. So putting him on one with them guys and with his ego, I think would be a very bad thing. I think that would be, it could end up career ending if it went wrong.
I think it's important for him, the family, the brand, to win a 250 Supercross title. I think it's important.
Yeah.
For them.
I mean, honestly, I would say run the damn 250 rabbit for as long as you can.
Yeah.
Because if a rider works it right, they're going to mature. They're going to figure things out. By the time they get to that other point, they should be mature enough to understand it.
Yeah.
The ones that just jump right up, it never works. Like it. How many guys have you seen come into the 250s and then jump right out into the 450s and take right off and it work out?
Only your privateers, and you look at a Savachi, you look at a Justin Bogle, you look at a Mookie, you look at those guys that had to go up.
Yeah,
they struggled.
Yeah,
they struggled when they didn't necessarily want to go up. It's where they had to go.
Yeah,
and it just didn't pan out for them.
It's career. Like Malcolm, I wouldn't say it's career ending, but it is at the same time because you go from top to now you're on a 450 and you're starting over and you're where you shouldn't be and you never recover. He's still like, he's done. Like what? And
he did have a nice top 10 finish this weekend. And
but it's
raced he hasn't raced the first outdoor national in 10 years.
Yeah.
This was the first one he's done in 10 years.
Because he listened to his brother. Because, James was a Supercross on.
Yeah.
Oh, look at his career. Like, look at Malcolm. He listened and, how'd your career turn out? Like, yes, you are known. Yes, you've had a factory ride, but what have you
Yeah.
done? You haven't done anything. You're a name. That's it.
He looked good this weekend, and I really say the 7 white gear was pretty sweet. Like that
Yeah.
was with the white bike and white gear. That was actually a pretty cool look. But no, I agree with you. I think there is a place, and I want so badly not to dig on Deegan. I just don't really enjoy the off track stuff. But I'm that way in real life. I don't really like a lot of confrontational stuff. I kind of like just
Yeah.
guys that just kind of do their job.
He's a good rider.
Yeah,
He's a jackass.
yeah,
If he controls himself and gets his shit together, his personal side, his other side will do way better.
yeah.
But with the way he is right now, it's still kind of up in the air how this is going to go. Like right now, okay, yeah, it's going pretty good, but you
Yeah.
don't know which direction it's going to go halfway through this. Or he has a really bad weekend. You don't know if he's going to go off the damn. You don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. And the thing is, he is good. He is good, and it's just like let's let this play out.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's awesome. Like we have 2 pretty young guys. You have a young guy in the 250s. You have a young guy in the 450s, kind of showing everybody what's up.
Yeah.
Like it's and but it's interesting. We'll see what happens this weekend. They kind of race Hangtown this weekend, which is one of the cooler tracks on the circuit. No one likes Paula. It's kind of like a one Bartow race versus the other Bartow.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
one part of Bartow is cool.
Yeah. Another sucks.
Southern California, that track Paula sucks, but like Hangtown's pretty cool. And
Yeah.
and then we start heading east. So, but that's really all I have. I think I actually cranked my bike twice. This whatever battery you told me to. What's the battery?
Do we put a Shirai in it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Bike hasn't done anything. Hit the button, let everything set, cranked it up, let that thing run for 7 minutes. Came out 2 days later, hit the button, it cranked right up, letting everything run. I've got to do some tear down because I want to change my handguards and stuff and do all that. But it's once we get some rain, it's ready to go. MJ asked me, "Are you going to ride again?" Yes, I want to ride. I've actually started doing sit ups and push ups and trying to get some strength back, not just runner's body, but riding body.
Your status quo.
Hey, no, I'm way. I got abs in there. There's abs, but no, we'll see what happens this summer, and we'll see.
We don't need to worry about it. We need to just get your ass loaded up. We'll go somewhere.
FTR and
No, I'm just saying. We'll go.
like 74.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just put your ass in the bike and let's go.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, happens. I will say, I did want to say the club did a good job on the enduro. They had all their shit together, had all the checks, plenty of people. They did have water at all the checks.
I was wondering if they would do that with the heat and everything.
Yeah, which a lot of people took advantage of it. I did take a bottle at the 5th check. I just kind of slowly dump it on myself, just cool myself off a little bit. But a lot of people took advantage of that. But they did a good job. RICHLOAM is hard because of normally when the race ends up being, it's hot.
Yeah.
It's not the easiest of tracks, but it's definitely not the hardest. And a lot of people just go out there and I think just mentally beat themselves. Oh, it's hot. Oh, this is hard. Like,
yeah,
just go out there and go. Just go. But they did a good job. Like it wasn't the same old wore out. Like it was a good track. It was dusty only if you had somebody in front of you. If you're by yourself, it was fine.
Yeah.
But if you had somebody in front of you and you got in certain spots, like it was almost lights out. Like it was dusty enough to where you couldn't see the ground.
Which is sketchy.
So you either were really, really close to them or you left a couple seconds between you to where you were still in their dust trail, but it had dissipated enough to where you could see. But it was good. I will say that Leah 8.5 helmet is probably the coolest helmet I wore. Pretty much from the get-go. Like every time we came in to start a new section, guys were, pulling their helmet off. I saw they were starting to strip down uh, at every reset throughout the entire event. I never took anything off. I just sat there with all my shit on, and I was perfectly fine. Um, the one picture I took of myself,
With your dirty face?
yeah, so like that mark up
Yeah.
there,
What is that? I thought you
that's
had
from,
tribal markings.
no, that's from the vents. That's air coming
Oh,
through.
really?
Yeah. So that's, I mean, if you look, that's proof that
It's getting air.
there's air moving through that helmet.
That's cool.
So
It worked.
that as far with between weight and airflow, as of right now, it's probably the best helmet I've wore. Um, if you wear a large, buy a large. If you wear extra large, buy extra. It's gonna fit tight to start with. Once it gets broke in, it's right. It's just a little tight to start with, which will make you think, "Oh man, I got the wrong size." You get the next size up, and you wear it, and then that gets broken, and you're like, "Shit, that's it's too loose."
Yeah.
So they are true to size. If you
Okay.
wear a large, get a large. You wear a small, whatever. But it's going to be tight to start with. Give it about 5 minutes. Everything situates and moves, and you're good to go.
That's a good sell point for the Elite
Yeah,
helmet.
well, at the last hair scramble, I wore it the whole time I was working on that boy, and I never got hot. I never took it off during this, and we were bumping 100 degrees, and I was fine. I looked at other guys, and they were in rough shape.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot that were hurting, um, which made me kind of like what we did worked,
Yeah.
which helped a lot. But it was like they're all saying, "Oh man, it's hot, it's hot, it's hot." I'm like, y'all ain't ever wore bunker gear in 100-degree heat, have you? Like this ain't shit.
And I also think too, I don't think a lot of people, and I'm not digging, I don't think a lot of people take the time to figure out that nutrition stuff. They just, hey, their friend does this, that,
Yeah.
but like I will tell you, go do
When it's
an event that you've never done before
yeah.
and realize, man, I got to really work on my
When
nutrition.
it's average weather, when it's 70, 80 degrees, you pretty much can almost do anything and you're fine.
Yeah.
Where it gets complicated is when you hit about start easing up into the 90s and start getting higher. That's when things start changing. And if you don't do things right, it's going to catch you very quickly.
Yeah.
And that happened at RICHLOAM. And there was a lot of guys that kept going that should have just stopped. Like you're kind of starting to creep on that point of if this goes a little bit further, you might be going to hospital.
Yeah.
Because there's several that posted stuff, and it's like, if you knew you were that, but just stop. Like there's no reason. Like if you're younger, yeah, you should be able to handle it, whatever. But these older guys, it's like, guys, come on, just stop. Like
It's not worth it. The warrior mentality isn't going to solve anything.
yeah.
Yeah. But no, I'm glad it's working out. I'm looking forward to trying some of the stuff. I mean, we still have it and we still use it. Now we use it kind of regularly. Like the other day we were working around the house and it was hot and I was like, I'm gonna go in and get some electrolytes. And I never even would have thought that way before. I just would have come and got a bottle of water, a Diet Coke, and now it's like, just give me some electrolytes and boom.
But it's what your body naturally needs. That's what your body's losing. Well, yeah, you can drink water or drink this, but you're putting it in way slower and at a fraction. Where I just drink one bottle of this and I'm good.
And I will tell you, if you don't want to spend the money and go through like the feed or one of those like real places, I will tell you the new Gatorade makes a thing called Gator Lights. You can buy it. You can buy either the pour packets or you can buy it in a little bottle.
I tried the one that y'all gave me.
Yeah.
And it was, to me, it was very, very strong.
It is very strong. I was actually one of the unofficial test dummies for the original Gator Lights. They came in a little packet like this. It was a foil packet. And what they had done is they took, I think it was University of Oklahoma, one of the football teams, and they put them in rubber suits. and they had them work out.
Mm.
They peeled those suits off of them, scraped those suits, and analyzed what they
What
lost.
was there? Yeah.
And then they created this electrolyte
Yeah.
thing, and you had to drink it in a Gatorade thing, because if you tried to drink it with water, you would almost hurl. The shit tasted terrible.
Yeah.
The funniest thing is now they make it in this drink, that same formulation in a drink. And I took a sip and I was like, oh my God, this takes me back to those foil packets.
Yeah.
I can taste it. Now that I've tried Gatorlights, all the other electrolytes, I can now taste the sodium even more because
Yeah.
so I can taste. But the Gatorlights is a good one if you don't want to do the research. Get yourself some of the Gatorlights.
Yeah.
They're you said they're a little stronger. You can taste the for lack of better terms, the medicine. You can taste the medicine in the drink.
Yeah.
But
It's just very potent. Like
yes.
it was very, very strong.
Yes.
And it's I don't know if maybe if you mixed it a little more water to it, if it would dilute it down and kind of chill it a little bit. I drank it, like it's drinkable, but it's like, damn, this is like this is I don't want no more of this. Like it's very, very potent.
I drink the packets and I put it, instead of a 16-ounce bottle, I put it in a 32-ounce bottle, and it kind of dumbs it down a little bit with the flavor. So, but yeah, it is strong, but it's a simple fix for those of you that don't want to go to the feed or do the research.
The noon stuff, you can get the tablets. You can get them at Walmart.
Okay.
Because that's where we've been buying them. It's from Walmart.
Okay.
So you can order them online at Walmart, or you go to Walmart and just look on their website real quick. They have them in stock, and so like those are even easier to get. Like,
okay.
Or Amazon. Like
there are options out there. You don't have to go crazy. There are good options. The biggest thing is if you're out here exerting over an hour of energy in hot weather, you don't need just water. You need other stuff in you.
Water is just kind of like a temporary filler.
Yeah.
It'll do a little bit, but not for long. Like it's kind of, you sip a little bit of that, but you better have something else there that you're putting in your system.
Yeah. But thank you for sitting down with us. The sun has set. We got the lights are shining. Yeah, finally. But we'll see what the summer brings. We'll probably shoot the shit some during the summer and have some conversations. Maybe we'll have something of a ride day or something one day somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll go try one of the local tracks out.
Well, I would like, my goal, my plan, which it normally never works that way, but I'm gonna try to ride at least once a week somewhere. That's kind of what I want to do. One for me, but also for him to get his butt back on a bike. Plus, I came home from the event because the original plan was that I planned months in advance, was because he was riding in between soccer seasons, and he was, everything was clicking again, just like it always does. And I'm like, well, if he keeps going like he's going, he can ride the beginner class, and I'll sign up for whatever, and I'll let him ride the enduro, and I'll just follow him. And me being there is just following, like where I finished it. Pretty much when we hit the halfway point, all right, we're done. Because realistically, time wise, I will be so far back. Like, so that was the original plan. Well, then he got more into soccer, so that kind of got paused. But then I came home from the enduro and I went and sat on the trampoline because he's got like a sprinkler thing that goes around the top, and he was out there playing on it. So when I got home, I went and got in the water out on the trampoline. I ain't got a pool, but I got a trampoline with a damn sprinkler on it. So I went out there and sat with him, and he was asking me.
You might be a redneck.
Yep. And he started asking me questions. I'm like, yeah, there were several kids out there on 85s racing, and and everything. And you can see him kind of, well, damn. Like maybe I should have. Like you kind of saw that the wheels start turning again. So if I can keep them, he can play soccer, but I got to kind of get him at some point to, okay, well, you play soccer during this time, but the rest of the time we're doing, if I can get him to do that, we'll be good. But he's starting to, size wise, he's inching up towards the 85 side. So if I can get him back on a bike and interested at some probably towards the end of the summer before Christmas. I'll get him an 85, but I don't want to pull the trigger yet. And him, you know, and then I got, okay, well, now I got to try to get rid of the damn thing.
No, you just ride it around.
I mean,
Around here you can just ride it. No one
Yeah.
think anything different about it. You just ride it around. I was driving down Mammoth Grove Road the other day. There were two dudes on an 85, goggles on, cruising down the road. I'm like, y'all are crazy. Two grown people on an 85, just like, oh, it is what it is. So, but going down the road, not on the side, on the road, and waving me by, like, I'm good. Like, I'm not gonna hit the dump truck. I don't know how you guys are staying on, but I'm good. But, well, I guess that'll wrap it up for this episode 56.5 of the Beyond the Curve, the MX podcast goes off road. Race review by Jason for the RICHLOAM Enduro. There is one more Enduro, Greenville, Georgia. Greensboro, Georgia.
Greensboro,
Cherokee National.
Yeah.
Which is the last FTR race of the year. And then it's summer break, summer training, summer, you name it, maybe vacations. And
got that planned.
Oh, you going on vacation?
Yeah, me and Mindy are gonna go away for a few days, just me and her. So, because we haven't really done anything with just me and her going anywhere, and it's been several years. So she's like, I want to just me and you go somewhere. So all right,
take her to Mid Ohio Vintage Days. Walk around and look at a whole bunch of old motorcycles.
Well, I have been to the AMA museum or whatever up there, because when her parents were living back in Ohio after we got married, they only lived like 10 minutes from there.
Oh,
so I've been there and walked through that place. It's pretty cool. It's one of them places like it's cool to go to and see everything, but it's not like go back all the time. Like but to go one time and see all of it is pretty cool.
Well, very good. Well, in honor of one of my mentors, good friends, Pete Meyer and his bar up in Indiana, right near Crawfordsville, their Green Castle is where the bar is. This episode is brought to you by that bar, free of charge, H&W Stables, Michelle and Trey Real Estate. And we would be remiss if I didn't wish my brother-in-law happy birthday, 51 today. And we lost a longtime FTR member, Gary Wyatt.
Yeah.
Last week, I believe.
Last week or the end of the week before.
End of the week before. Like but hey, man, we all get old. We all pass on at some point, and ride while you can, right?
Yeah.
So, but thank you all for being a part of it. Jason, thank you for your time and your candid conversation. And we will see you next week with MJ talking about a GNCC race. So until next week, adieu.